Hi, guys. I hope you all had an amazing week and that you're ready for the weekend. My name is Adiola, and this is the seventh episode of Editor's Note. Welcome. This is where I share the inspiration and intentions behind my weekly blog post that drops every Tuesdays. And in some cases, I would expand on the main point or some wisdom nuggets from the post. So, tomorrow is March 8th, and it is International Women's Day. And of course, March is Women's History Month, so yay to all the women and girls around the world like me. With that said, this month, the blog post and of course the editor's note will center around themes of women and girls' rights, gender equality, feminism, intersectionality, and the likes. And starting with the first post of the month, which dropped this past Tuesday, it is titled In Solidarity and in the Trenches. And I shared the moment I first verbalized to myself that I am a feminist. I was a sophomore in college and I had just finished reading Caged Version by Ian Asheli. On a side note, Ayan is such a beautiful name, and I wouldn't mind naming one of my daughters when I have one, Ayan. And I believe it means gift of God in Arabic. Anyways, the blog post that I shared, which was my first identification, verbal identification to myself that I am a feminist, also elaborated on the two specific experiences growing up that laid the foundation and set the path for me to identify as feminist. Reading Ali's book helped me verbalize it. Um, and I go on to share how over the years, after sophomore year, I have read so many books, I've listened to so many speeches around the issues of feminism and girls' right and human right, and they have helped expand and broaden my horizon behind the two experiences that I shared that laid the foundation for me on the blog. So if you want to read more about what those two experiences are, you can click the link in my bio and go to my blog to read the post. With that said, I thought, today that I would love to share 5 books that I have read, 5 of many that I have read around women's right, human's right, feminism, intersectionality, womanism that has been quite influential. And I use influential lightly because some, maybe 2 or 3 are quite influential, 2 actually. And the remaining are things that opened up my eyes, answered some questions, made me think beyond where I was and what I was thinking at that point in time. So without much further ado, that's how they say it, right? Let's get into the 5 books that I would like to share with you around feminism and intersectionality and women's rights today. The first one, of course, is Caged Version by Ayan Asheli. Aside from this book helping me verbalize that I am feminist to myself, this book was the first time that I also saw beyond myself when it comes to the issues of feminism. For the longest part, and based on the two experiences that I shared in the blog post, my idea of feminism, even when I didn't have a word for it, was centered around gender roles in the household, how to be a wife, how to be a father, how to be a mother, what it means to be a girl child or boy child in the house. But and so that was my idea, and that's where my horizon stopped when it comes to the issues of gender rights, and gender equality. After reading Cage Virgin, my I felt like my mind opened up and expanded beyond just looking at feminism as just an issue of gender roles in the house. Because while I was focused on that, and that was where my knowledge stopped, people around the world were fighting to get an education, fighting to not get married at 12, fighting to take to inherit the inheritance the deceased father left for a wife and a girls, while the in-laws are saying they're not worth it because the mother only birthed girls. So there were issues around the world who were fighting for their lives. And Cage Version opened up my eyes to the idea that feminism does not stop in the house. It doesn't stop at gender roles in the house. And I'm truly and forever grateful that my mind opened up and I made that connection. So that's the first book. The second book is Daughters Who Walk This Path by Ejide Kiranko. It's a novel, and if you know me, you know I love stories, I love reading, I love novels. I am a manuscript editor and a manuscript evaluator, and I primarily work on multicultural stories, novels, and novellas. So this story for me was a good story to read, but it was also set in modern day Nigeria. And it was the first time that I read a story about around these themes, written by a Nigerian author and set in the Nigerian community. There are many out there, but this is the first time that the theme was brought to the surface really for me. And this story is led by two protagonists, Morenike and Mariah. And I love that the story not only focused on the issues that they were struggling with in the culture, but it also immersed them and surrounded them with the women in the culture that were either silent about the oppression, fighting against the oppression, or co-signing the oppression. And it was such a good book to talk about how women support women, but how also women suppress women, and how both are a tool and a vessel and instrument of patriarchy. So that was a really good read for me. And I actually wrote a review of this book on my blog. Click the link in my bio. We'll take you to the review and you can let me know what you think. The third book that I want to share is a really popular one. And this book is, for me, just like Cage Version, open up my eyes to all the issues that women go through around the world beyond what I go through. This book also, for me, showcased the strength of women and how our strength helps us make opportunities where there seem to be no opportunities, and how we thrive and survive even in situations that are distressful and full of despair. This is Half the Sky by Nicholas Kristof and Cheryl Wooden. It's such an amazing read. It's a story. It's a book full of stories about women around the world, the struggles and the triumph that they've experienced in our world. My number 4 book is one that is currently challenging me. I read it a few years ago, but I'm constantly thinking about the details and the wisdom nuggets and the practical tips I'm taking away from this book, and that is no other than We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Adichie. I believe that many of us have theories about what we believe and the ideologies that we subscribe to. Sometimes they can stay in our heads as theories, and then when we have to bring them down to life and down to the ground and actually live them out, we find them impossible to live out. Whether because we don't really subscribe or something around us is an obstacle in the way to living out what we believe in our minds. But Chimamanda provides such a practical book and tool for which we can live out the feminist theories we have in our heads specifically around raising daughters and even raising boys. And even beyond that, how I live my life as a feminist and how my theories can be brought down to earth and be practical in my everyday life. So I really love this book for that reason. And the last book is called Jesus Feminist by Sarah Bessie. I'm putting this book on the list because it is answering some of the questions I have around faith and feminism and how those intersect and if they align. I am currently reading this book. It's not that I'm done with it. I'm not giving it a thumbs up or thumbs down yet. But for me, it's answering some questions. So I thought it would be a good book to share. If you're interested in reading about where Jesus stands or where faith in Christ stands when it comes to women issues, women's rights and feminists, and when it comes to feminism in the Bible. I have lots of questions. So I'm like, I read this book and it's answering some questions, not all, but so far so good. So with that said, guys, those are the 5 books that for me, I wanted to share with you that have been part of my journey, 5 of many, as I walk this journey towards what it means to be a feminist, what it means to be someone that is for women and about women. And the 5 books again are Cage Version by Ayan Ashir Ali, Daughters Who Walk the Path by Yejide Kilanko, We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Adichie, Half the Sky by Nicholas Kristof and Cheryl Wooden, and Jesus Feminist by Sarah Bessie. I would love to hear your opinions, your point of view. So click the link in my bio to read the blog and leave a comment below the blog or even below the video, letting me know your thoughts for or against feminism and any experience in your life, stories, even people that are shaping or have shaped how you view women's rights, gender equality in the home and in society. With that said, I will see you next week when the next blog post drops or else the spirit leads. Have a good one and bye.